You will come in, will fear, young girl. You will come in, will fear, young girl. You will come in, will fear, young girl. Young girl, young girl. Young girl, young girl. Young girl, young girl. Oh, young girl. Oh, young girl. Oh, young girl. Oh, young girl. Why ya kwa her woman ikawa doya? Why ya kwa say why ya back ikawa doya? Nakatelo to kalabo to kalabo. Nakatelo to kalabo to kalabo. Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. Oh, yeah, girl. Oh, yeah, girl. Oh, yeah, girl. Oh, yeah,
Hello, Doug. You can get me now, right?
Yeah, hello. I'm hearing you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can get you. I think much better now. I'm so sorry for that. I think that's the beauty of the internet. I had some little issue. I needed to do some things I didn't forfeit, so I have to go back to forfeit that. I think I forgot. So that welcome to the platform while the other people are coming on. Before, I mean, if you are just watching us, and sorry you left us, we had some technical issue. That's the reason why we couldn't stay on. We have to go off for like 3 or 4 minutes and come back on. So this is Science in Society. If you are just tuning in, here we invite professional people who are making significant impact into society and in out of Liberia. Some of them are in a little corner. You don't know what they are actually doing, and so uh, that's what we do here at Science in Society. So we always bring people on to in the sciences on asking them the question on how they can be able to contribute towards development back in Liberia, and also how their career fit into the developmental process of Liberia, whether it be in the health sector or I mean maybe the person is in the civil engineering area, they're going to be talking about road construction, building, and something like that. So today we have Dr. Jason Wiako. Dr. Wiako, like I said to you earlier, he is Liberian. He's a Cotton graduate. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree from the Cotton University in Pond County, and also he holds a Master of Science from Kadihar University here in Turkey, and also a PhD in both in from Koç University in computational engineering. And so he's actually like one of those, I don't know of, I can't remember anyone who, I have not remember any librarian who have a computational engineering or computational science degree before. Maybe he may be the only person in country, or maybe he may be, I mean, second or two. They may be there. I don't know, but the only person I know is the Tato Wiako. And so that the other guys will also come on while you're here. We'll have our colleague who normally join us from Liberia, and also around the world. And today's, I don't know, today's case. Sometimes everyone is finding time in which they can be here to make their contribution to the show. So we will start the discussion because we can be here. We have to keep discussing until the guys can make their way here. Okay, so basically, that's what we normally do here, and that's the trends we normally take when it comes to discussion. And so, folks, I will advise that you share the live as much as you can, and so that we can get more our viewer draft from the previous video. So in Liberia, most of the time when people are not doing sport, or people are not doing the kind of entertainment, you're not going to get viewer, the number of people who are going to watch you. But we are streaming live from YouTube on my personal page on Mohammed, and also at the Innovation Lab page, which will have more viewers that normally watch us from the Innovation Lab. So, welcome again to the platform. And this is Science and Society. First of all, we want to know who is Dr. Jackson Weko, and where is he from, which part of Liberia is from, and before we can start our discussion.
Okay, thank you so much, Mohammed. Thank you for the invite. I'm excited to be here, and also to share my personal experiences or present experiences with those who are actually interested. Uh, you've already done a great job with the introduction. So just to give or to go a little much deeper, I'm Jackson Wiako. I grew up in Bon County. I was born in Kokoya, and I spent most of my time in Bon County. I attended the Dologaram Buffet High School in Banga with the Aim High motto. And then I also attended the Cortiton University in Swakogo, Bon County as well. But prior to my enrollment to Cortiton, I also attended the Zozo Rural Teacher Institute in Feasible, Lufa County. So I have some experiences in the teaching field. So I did some pedagogy or studied about teaching methodologies as well. And then at Cortiton, initially I started as a student of education. I started, but then due to some other reasons and maybe peer pressure as well, I joined the College of Natural Science. I started with major in education with emphasis in chemistry, and later at the end of my first semester, I changed to chemistry major and biology minor. In 2015, I graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry from Cortiton. And then in 2015, I was awarded with the fellowship from the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey, that's TÜBİTAK, to pursue my master's studies. And in 2015, the same year, September, I began my study. So I studied computational biology and bioinformatics at Kadihar University, or Kadihar University. Yeah, and then so that was a 2-year master program. So 2017, I completed my studies in computational biology and bioinformatics. And then 2017, I started the real journey, my doctoral program in computational science and engineering, Koç University. In 2021, December, I was able to defend my thesis or dissertation. And then 2022, I attended the official ceremony in Istanbul, Turkey. Yeah, so that's a little overview, in terms of my educational background. Yeah.
Thank you, Dad. That most of the time, people will be wondering, looking at the background you form, going up, getting a kind of PhD. Even I mean, if you even still having the energy to even do postdoc, how was actually your struggle talking about you coming from government school in Banga, one of the biggest government school in Bon County, going to a private school, I mean, in Kwatito, and also going up, I mean, coming to one of the best school in Turkey, I think second rank or third rank when it comes to ranking in Turkey. How have been your struggle?
So like I think like it's similar to most people who, like, especially from Liberia, who experienced the Civil War. To be honest, I'm not from a rich background. But for me, I think one of the driving forces have been perseverance or self determination, because earlier on I was determined, and up to now I'm still determined. So like I mentioned earlier, when I graduated from high school, I didn't have the opportunity to enroll immediately at the university, so I have to take a break, go to teacher college, and then uh, got a certificate in primary education, and then came by before I could start at Coditon. So at Coditon, I was in school and also serving as teacher, teaching general science in one of the junior high schools in Banga. And for my studies at Coditon, to be honest, I want to give the credit to people who actually helped me, like my parents and also Dr. Topa. I was on the president's scholarship at Coditon. At that
Okay.
time, they have a special scholarship for valedictorian from Bon County. So during my year at Beaufair, when I graduated in 2009, so I was the valedictorian for my class. So that enabled me to enter Cotton University on the President's Scholarship. And then uh, when I completed that program, I also applied for the Tubita Scholarship, which I was awarded. So the key thing there is what it has been perseverance or tenacity, or whichever term you want to use, and then with the help of scholarship, you know. So so if you are not from a rich background, at least you must be self-determined. You must work harder. Believe in yourself. That you can be able to be in reality or achieve success regardless of the various obstacles. Yeah. So basically, it has been kind of hard work, and also with the assistance of other individuals, institutions. To really believe in us and provide us with the opportunities to be able to reach the level. It has been incredible, but also a tough one for me. There are lots of things we have to overcome in order to reach. And even up to now, we are still striving, to get to where we actually want to be. Yeah, and be able to make our own contribution to society.
Wow, that in the opening statement, I emphasized key on something that I don't know of anyone who have a PhD in computational engineering, because from Liberia, I don't know of any computational engineering bioinformatics from Liberia, except someone from the live video can also call someone name. But so far so good, I can break the news that maybe he's the only person who has this up to PhD. Maybe if someone is from Liberia, then this person may be from a Liberian, then they could may have a master's. But I doubt it that we may have any computational engineer who may be from Liberia that hold a PhD in computational engineering. And so that this is a very, very big or opening, very big introduction. I mean, your story is not different from mine, like you said, not different from any other Liberian. So, I mean, we let's go back to some of the apart from your activities, and even to be tax scholarship, I benefited from it, and I even if I think you was one of the first guys that opened the Tupita scholarship when it was actually a very good scholarship when people benefited from it. Now it's just a project. And so let's go back to your course of studying, to your experience, your PhD journey. What was some of your experience that you see different here, your master different also here as compared to your master's in back home in Coditon? And because I'm not going to count high school, but I want to compare. I want you to go. And not that we know the system, but I want you to share some experience with us. What are some of the things you encountered during your journey?
Oh, okay, thank you. So before I get to that, so when it comes to the people with degree in computational biology or computational science or engineering, like Akadi has Augustine Samalu, who is currently the dean at the College of Natural Science. According to also got a
Ah,
master
okay.
degree in computational
Ah,
biology and
ah,
bioinformatics.
ah.
But for the computational science, that is not to my knowledge, but it's possible that people, other people elsewhere might have, gone that level. So now, back to the comparison. So I'm going to start with my undergrad experience at Coditon and also my graduate, like the master experience at Kehas University. To be honest, at Coditon, we tried. They were great guys. Because in our batch, we have guys like Bayo Ngede, David Sake, the Gregory Andrews, Augustine Samaru. So those were like solid guys that we, were opportune to be in the same batch with. So it was a kind of uh, challenging experience. So we have to actually work harder. These are guys that would like draw the periodic table in less than 2 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
know.
to be honest, with the experience here, especially at the master level, it was a much more a greater challenge compared to the experience in Liberia. Uh, because during my first semester, I remember I registered like for 4 courses. I got it on. I could easily do like 5 courses, 6 courses, and maybe the least grades I'm gonna get maybe a B or sometimes 4.00. So I K has when my first semester I have introduction to bioinformatics. I have cell biology, molecular modeling and graphics, and also introduction to programming, Python. So those are the first 4 courses I selected in my first semester. They were challenging. To be honest, in Liberia, at most I used to study for maybe 2-3 hours, but at KHAS, I have to increase that maybe by 2 or 3. Yeah. So and so my courses were structured in that. For instance, on Monday I had just one course, like for example cell biology. So it means out of my studies on Monday just going to be centered on one course, but I have to study for more than 5-6 hours, and I still needed
Wow.
more time to be able to put in in order to get a kind of a better performance, right? And and to be honest, like after the midterm exam, like earlier on, I have like 4 courses, but after the midterm exam, I have to actually drop the Python course because I was very new to programming. So I have to, because I
Okay.
literally failed. I failed the midterm exam in Python or introduction to programming. So I have to drop the Python and then focus on the 3 courses. And at the end of the semester, I was able to make a successful pass. So those were some of the moments. And another thing or I encounter has to do with like writing a TC for the first time. Because at Coditon, I didn't write a TC when I was doing the chemistry, so I have to write a
Okay.
master TC. That was challenging. We have to like do it the harder way. Like no prior experience, and then you needed to do something. So those are some of the uh, challenging moments. And then the course again was something different, like computational biology, like the intersection of computer science, algorithms, and then biology, to be able to understand biological molecule using some in silico experiments. So those
Okay.
experiences were actually different from what we have in Liberia. I'm not trying to say like the system is worse off in Liberia, but like here was more challenging, compared to Liberia.
Most of the time we have this belief. Sometimes we say in Liberia, once we travel, everything will be rosy. That's the reason I asked this question. That even as much as the system here is upgraded a little bit, but you still have to put more time than ever before. You was doing Liberia in the study. And
Hmm.
if I just got this from you, you said you even said it 2 times more than what you were doing at Cotton University. So it's something that it means you have to put in more time. The professors are not waiting for you. They give you the note, and you're not going to be waiting for you. You have to keep studying and make the grades middle of your grade point because you're on scholarship. You don't want to lose your scholarship. So it's something that you have to put in more time, which I know this. And I know through of your life you used to this from Coditon coming up to Turkey here on one of the prestigious scholarship. It was in Turkey. It was very very very much. But uh that if before I come to you, because it's only my one running this show today, so I know maybe the other guys will join me. I don't know, but folks, if you are just watching, you can share the live video as much as you can. And we've seen the number of viewer increasing. I'm here with Dr. Justin Wiako. Dado Wiako is an alumni of the Cotton University, an alumni of I think TD University and one high school. And also an alumni of Kadi High University, an alumni also of Koç, the prestigious Koç University in Turkey. He was a PhD in computational engineering, and he also holds a master's in computational science bioinformatics. So that I would like to, get this from you. People who watch it will want to get understanding. This is a very strange course. Even myself, I try reading through. Sometimes I have some understanding of what is computational science and what is computational engineering. Students who are watching want to get this clear. What is actually this course about, and where can these people work? People who have this kind of degree.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the explanation, and then maybe we can talk about the applications in the real world.
Okay.
So computational science. So for me, the simpler way I can explain that uh, is using computers, algorithms, or statistics to be able to study science, right? So let's take, for
Okay.
instance, computational biology. So computational biology is where you use computer science or you use computer to be able to understand or study biological molecules. For example, visualizing proteins interactions or DNA sequencing or protein lagging interactions. Yeah, so because most of these processes are difficult to be able to study at the atomic scale or the atomic level doing in experiments. So most of them you can use computational tools or software to be able to understand these biological molecules, the protein, the nucleic acid, or the DNA, the ligands and so forth. And yeah, so that's I think that's a simpler way I can be able to understand the computational biology, for instance, like the intersection of computer science and biology, or using computer science and algorithms to be able to study or understand biological molecules. It could be visualizing biological molecules. It could be understanding like protein liking interactions or protein or interactions. And sometimes, studying like sequences, or the sequences of amino acids. The proteins are made of amino acids, right? So we can be able to analyze the sequence of a protein and see whether it has some sequence identity of another protein. So these are some of the simpler way you can understand some of these concepts. But I can get into the detail of most of these things. For example, like protein uh, interactions. So we know proteins they are macromolecules and they interact with other proteins in order to perform their cellular duties or function. But proteins are actually selective in their interactions, right? And one key thing is that when two proteins interact, not all of the residues or the amino acids
Okay.
participate in the interactions. So there are
Okay.
specific residues. Let's say you have the two proteins, protein A and B. So when they interact, there are some residues uh, from each protein that actually, that are actually involved in the interaction. And those residues are considered to be like the interface residues. In other words, they are the one that actually contribute the most to the binding energy. So you can do in silico experiments or computer experiment to really know if two proteins, or can actually interact, or when they interact, whether they will form a kind of stable conformation or not. Yeah, so these are some of the things that you can actually do when it comes to computational or biology. And another interesting thing is protein ligand interaction.
Okay,
So
ligand. Okay.
yeah, so protein ligand interactions is where you have a small molecule or the ligand that can actually bind to the active side of the protein.
Yeah.
So if you perform an experiment, okay, so this one of the things between the experimentalist and the computational scientist or biologist. So if you perform an experiment, you are an experimentalist. So basically, you have your starting materials or whatever. So you have it from the initial to the final, but you cannot observe what is happening during the reactions, right? It's hard,
Yeah.
right?
It's very, very difficult.
Okay, but in computational or in silico experiments, for example, if I can make a protein and a ligand interact, and I can observe the interactions from time zero up to time final. So I can run, for instance, a 10 nanometer, or let's say a 10 nanosecond molecular dynamic simulation, and I'm going to observe the change in conformation along the trajectory from T0 into to T final. So I'm able to observe some interaction at the atomic level that experimentalists cannot be able to observe. So I look at the virial conformation, and I can also determine from the trajectory to know which one of these conformations is the most populated or the most stable conformation between the protein and the ligand. Yeah. So these are concepts that can actually help you to understand some of these things. So computational biology, you use these tools to be able to, for example, when the protein interact or when the ligand bind to the binding side of the protein, there are key residues within the active side, and sometimes they are cofactors. So you want to understand how well the ligand binds, right? And you can also determine the binding energy. So they have some tools, for example, like AutoDock. They have some docking tools that you can use to determine the binding energy. So the binding energy, the lower the energy or the more negative, the better the interaction. So it indicates that this ligand is able to bind perfectly to this protein. If it is more positive, it means it's not a favorable interaction. So you can, and some of these concepts can actually be applied in drug design, which maybe later I can make
Yes.
more
Okay.
clarity
Yeah.
on
Emphasis
drug
on
design.
drug
Yeah,
design.
in terms
Okay.
of the applications to like
To
or
real life.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's, I think these are few examples to give someone a kind of clear view of what computational biology or computational science. So you also have computational chemistry. So you want to understand like the variables, like the structure, how the atoms are arranged. You can visualize this thing in silico. Yeah, and then you can also uh, in trying to understand the inter and intramolecular forces. Because for instance, like you can actually visualize some of these interactions to know which one is covalent, electrostatic, or par cation, or par stacking, or par interaction. You can determine these things using tools like Discovery Studio and some other visualization tools like PyMo, for instance. So there are lots of computational tools out there that can actually help you to understand some of these biological processes. So computational science for me is one of the best fields, that actually helps you to understand the sciences at the atomic
Different
scale.
level.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I'm quite amazed using computer to analyze most of this or reaction. For us, we the experimentalists, we are not seeing most of the interaction of this protein or these molecular interactions doing the experiment. But I mean, you guys are always observing the interaction, how they interact, using your software and your data analysis to do these things. If I may get that clear. So that let's move to the real application of all of these things you have said to the real world. How is it applicable to real life? How can people use this? Where can we use this? Maybe what? How? I mean, how can it help to protect life, save life with the skill?
Okay. Okay, so for the applications, I can focus on maybe a few of them. Okay, so one of the things as a computational scientist or bioinformaticians, you are also a data analyst, right? You can also observe uh, protein data. For instance, they have the protein database. Okay, let's get to like, for example, you have like clinical data, so you can be able to analyze
Okay,
clinical data. For instance, uh, what is the most common disease in Liberia? So if you have data from the various clinic or hospitals in Liberia, you can actually do analysis and then determine uh, the most common a disease in Liberia. Maybe it could be malaria, tuberculosis, or hepatitis B, and so forth. And also you can also, like, let's take for instance the malaria. You have like different medication or drug on the market for malaria, but some of these they are uh, the parasites now are resistant to some of these medication and they are not functional. So you can determine, for example, based on the data, which one, because most of the resistance comes as a result of mutation. So maybe the binding side, there's a kind of mutation in the binding side that and once the mutation occur, the molecule cannot bind effectively. So as a
okay,
computational biology, you can be able to go back and analyze the artifact and see where the mutation occur and which amino acid was changed, whether it was aspartate to glutamate or histidine to glutamate. And you can do the analysis and then be able to design new drug molecule that will perfectly bind to the artifact. So these are some of
okay.
the
So
applications in terms of
yeah,
commonly the disease. If you want to know that the which one, for example, currently talking about monkeypox, for example. So you want to know what is statistics do you have? How many cases have occurred in the various counties? So if you have the data, you can be able to analyze, and then you can also if you, based on the tools you have, you can also determine that which gene is producing this protein. Uh-huh. So what are the transcription factors responsible, to be able to produce this? Because another thing is that you have this uh, the central dogma of molecular biology, right? So you have the uh, the DNA, you have transcription,
okay,
and then you have replication, transcription, and translation, right? So that is from the DNA. You have the mRNA, and then you have the protein. So in computational biology, the same concepts also apply. So you have the central dogma of structural biology. So that is from the sequence of the protein, you can actually determine the structure of the protein. And if you determine the structure of the protein, you can determine the function of the protein. Yeah, so
okay,
it's the same idea. So from the sequence, you can get a structure, because once you have the sequence, uh you can model it. You have software or tools. You just give the sequence of the protein, the amino acid sequence, and they determine the structure of the protein, and then you can compare. So the idea is that when two proteins have like similar structure, they are likely to have similar function. Yeah.
okay.
And
Wow.
another application of bioinformatics, it would be in the era of drug design. In
Okay,
era of drug design, So uh, so usually in drug design, it's time consuming, it's costly, and then it takes years. So one of the strategies people have been using, or computational biology or computer aided drug design, they've been using, is to use virtual screening, for example. So you have thousands of molecules and you have a protein of interest. Take for instance the parasite responsible for malaria. Or so when you have your target protein and you have millions of compounds, you can actually make these compounds to actually bind to the protein one at a time, and then determine the binding energy from the interaction. And then it gives you a clue. Maybe out of the 1 million compounds, you have maybe 10 of those compounds that are actually binding to the active
Okay,
site.
today. Yes, sir. Okay.
And that can serve as a lead compound that you can further modify, maybe by changing some functional groups, and then do some more docking studies to determine, for instance, if you remove a hydroxyl group and then add a different functional group, what happens? Does the interaction become more favorable, more stable? So it gives you an idea, and then you can suggest to an organic chemist, okay, this compound it seems promising. Maybe if we do some modification, this would be a potential drug molecule for this target protein. So these are some of the applications.
So,
So
so
you don't.
almost,
Mhm.
almost like people who are into this field, they working almost in most of the natural sciences, be it the chemistry, the biology, honestly, many organic, talking about organic biochemistry, they work in between. So if you have a complete research center, you have a very good computational scientist or a computational biologist, you're gonna have a very good data coming up, and you're gonna have a very good team. I think from your explanation, and that's why.
Yeah,
And also, yeah, with like bro going to just production where you have people, so pharmaceutical issues, you have a very good competition biologist working. I mean, you're gonna get a very good result, I think, from what you
yeah,
said.
they
Yeah,
can do
yeah.
some virtual screening. There are global efforts to eradicate or to fight against malaria, the malaria parasite. So you just need collaboration. For instance, I was in Turkey and I was running molecular dynamic simulation from a service from the US. So I was in Turkey, but I was running my MD simulation in the US. So you have cloud computing. You can log into the system and submit your job, and also track the progress of the job. And you can download the files on your personal computer and do some analysis. Yeah, so you don't. So I know there are like challenges in terms of resources in Liberia, but uh, like, you have Discovery Studio. They have the free version. You can actually download on a personal computer and try to analyze. You can go to the protein data bank, for instance, and download a protein and try to visualize the structure of the protein, because we have never seen them so at least you can be able to visualize. If you have the three-dimensional structure of the protein, you can be able to visualize that. So you can have a computational lab in Liberia that can actually collaborate with other institutions that and then you can identify a small molecule and suggest and for modification. You get a lead compound and then you try to do some modification and see how the experimentally can be able to, or the organic chemist can be able to synthesize that and try that in the real experiments to see if it is a potential candidate, and that can be pursued further.
Wow, that I will go to the live video to see how I can be able to read some comment, then we'll come back. And so on the live video, I have Diamond Khan is watching, Mohammed Ba. And so Mohammed Ba said, you guys are doing well. And B, Avin Yewa was watching. Ambassador Evangeline P was also watching. Ambassador Dudubo Momotela and my own big brother was also watching. Samuel Koyon is also watching. Comfort Wizard, and Isiaga So is also watching. And Ambassador Taylor make a comment. I'm going to read this comment, and he said, "Experimental research in biology is a validation of theoretical or kind of computational biology, and is an opportunity to test hypotheses or analyze data with the help of a computer screen. Both types of research are important, and some studies may require experimental validation to justify their theoretical conclusion." And so we that was his comment. And so we had James Mercy Tapper is just joining us in watching us. And on the other screen we have Ambassador Isaac Monubo. That he said, I'm following from Cape Palmas, Liberia, and we have Eddie Nimle. Eddie Nimle is also watching. Bazi Sumo is watching. Catherine City Keto is also watching. And so we have Ayuba Fofana just joined us. So these are the people that are so far so good. These are the comments from you. I think you're getting some commendation. Maybe you want to make some comment to Ambassador Taylor comment he made, but I think he's right. He's actually right to what he say.
Well, can you read frame that or summarize it? You know, you were reading his comments, right?
So he said experimental research in biology is a validation of theoretical outcome. So yeah, when you are experimenting biology, it has some validation outcome, and computational biology on the other hand is also an opportunity to test hypotheses, to test, analyze data, and with the help of a computer screen. So when you are doing research in biology, you validate data, theoretical outcome. Data comes from theoretical outcome. But when it comes to computational biology, it helps you to test a given opportunity to test an hypothesis or to analyze the data with the help of a computer, like what you just said.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
also go by saying both types of research are important, and some studies may require experimental validation to justify their theoretical conclusion. Meaning, if you're doing both, maybe probably you you are a computational scientist working. You also need to further proof validate your result coming from the lab or a particular you on using your computer like this to see if the result you got are actually accurate. That's what you actually see.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think
I just mentioned that, like for example, let's take the instant of drug design, right? So I can identify the small molecule. I say, okay, this is a potential drug candidate, but I cannot validate that. That can only be validated when the molecule is being synthesized by the experimentalist, and then do the actual experiment to see if the computational results actually agree with the experimental result. So the goal, of the computational biology is to help speed up the process, right? So
okay.
to speed up the process, but you need a kind of collaboration with the experimental to actually validate your findings. Uh-huh. And also for analysis, there are some experimental data that you can also be able to analyze in silico, So it's not like the the computational biology is a final node. Sometimes you can perform a molecular dynamic simulation to know the stability of a protein, you know, but that can also be tested, experimentally to know if it actually agrees with the computational results. So you always have computational biologists and experimentalists working together, to achieve certain goals. So they are not independent of one another, you know. Yeah. But the point I raised earlier was like in MD simulation, for instance, you can actually you can observe some interaction at the atomic scale or the atomic level that is harder to observe in experiment. But the experiment helps to actually validate most of these findings. And there are tools when it comes to like data analysis, like gene sequencing, computational tools can be very powerful and helpful in getting results faster. Yeah.
Folks, if you are just watching us and you are listening to Dr. Justin Weako, we are here on Science and Society. His name is Dr. Justin Weako. He holds a PhD in computational engineering from Koç University in Turkey. That was a couple of going to 2 years now, but still, he still look kind of a young with his PhD. But that I want to look at, you explain all of this. What are some of those challenges that you're going to encounter when you are working with all of this, meaning working in your country as a computational engineer back home in Liberia? You want to go back home to work as a computational engineer. What are some of the challenges that you're always going to encounter, and you know that you're always going to encounter that you think maybe probably government or the referral authority could be here to work on it?
There are lots of challenges that we mentioned, especially with the librarian setting. In the first instance, getting a job is another thing. Getting a job to work as a computational or bioinformatician, or maybe you could like to work in a hospital, or maybe in some of the her sectors to be able to do some data analysis or do some work. And then you also have like challenges of infrastructure, like maybe uh, you may not have that sophisticated computer lab, because for instance, some of these software they require some activation. You have the free version, but if you want to go further, for instance, Stroninga is a kind of software you use for protein ligand interaction or docking or molecular docking. And then for MD simulation, like when I was doing my uh, thesis or doctoral thesis or dissertation, so I did a simulation on two proteins, right? So I wanted to understand if these two proteins actually interact in silico. And then, so I have lots of systems that I needed to simulate. I have over 19 systems. So each system has like a different conformation of the protein and different conformation of the other protein. The two proteins interact, and then so I have like different system. I have some system without a protein, and without the ligand, and some of the system with the ligand. You know, so and to perform this computation, they require resources. And like typically like molecular dynamic simulation takes up to, I remember most of the simulations were taking like 3 months. You have to perform the production run, and then to do the analysis you have to take another 3 months to do the analysis. So these things are computationally expensive, so you need the facility, the resources to be able. But regardless of that, you can still be able to use some of these tools. The free version, for example, you can use. They have like software like the Pino VMD, Discovery Studio. There are lots of them you can use locally without subscription as well. But there will be challenges. Like getting a job first in Liberia. That's another problem. Whether people are gonna allow you
That's
to
another
do.
problem.
So
Yeah.
so that's it. So for me, uh, there are challenges, but the challenges can be overcome. Yeah, because that's why you need collaboration. If I'm working if I'm trying to identify a small molecule in Liberia, I can collaborate with people outside Liberia that can be able to do the experiments. Or they are okay. So internet connection. If you get a better internet connection, you can be able to use some server from outside Liberia. So we can get better internet, electricity. With these tools, you can start, and you because you most of your stuff is computation, right? You can be in like mirror. You can use like remote app to get a log into. Like I was in Turkey, but I was using remote app to log into the system from the US, and I was doing all of my molecular dynamic simulations from our system. Yeah, so these are some of the challenges. Or yeah, but I think with government support and people ready trying to invest in the importance of this thing, it's possible that people can be in Liberia and do some of these analysis as well.
Wow. So that will read the comments and then come back. Maybe we'll take 2 questions, 2 or 3 questions, and then we can call it a day. But on the comment section here on our other platform, the Innovation Lab platform, it says that Ayuba Fufana is saying that's my dad. Thanks for the elaboration. And Abu Dasin is also following. And on my platform, I have here Mr. Bobby Kato was watching earlier, and Dilando Zando was watching. Lai Fufana earlier was watching. So, Mr. Bobby Kato, you wrote a very long piece here. I'm going to read a little bit of conclusion, and then probably, because maybe we're going to take our time. So the conclusion is saying both fields are crucial for advancing our understanding of life sciences, and with computer biology providing powerful tools for data analysis and modeling, while biological sciences focus on empirical research and experimentation. So their collaboration has led to significant advancement in areas like genomics and system biology. That was his comment, and he wrote a very very long piece there. He talk about interdisciplinary nature, the application, when you talk about computer, and also he talk about data types, mentors, and focus. So he opened this by saying computer biology and biological sciences research are two distinct but interconnected fields. So that was why he was talking, and similar thing you were saying. So Mr. Benjamin L. Tule is also watching my Mr. Tule is my old boss also from the BWR High School. He's my former boss, and he says here a great initiative. And Sea Light, Sea Light is my own sister, who is also watching. Chase Morris is also watching, and Mr. Moses Dubai is also watching. He said, "I'm watching live from Boys Town." So that's my own dad, academic dad from where I can know. He also watching the live video. So, folks, if you are just watching, this is for Science and Society. We are paying host to that Dr. Jason Wiako. He's a computational biologist, computational engineer. I don't want to say always I make mistake, by saying you are a computational biologist or computational engineer, and so but it's actually good. I see, and my dad Moses say, "Good job." That I hope we're gonna have you, and he also a microbiologist. Hope we're gonna have him on some days here, so that he can also be able to explain some things out in his feet. And so that let me come back to you so that we can call it because it's late from your end. Uh, if I may ask you, sometime, how do you feel with getting all of this knowledge? And with getting all of this knowledge, and not you stay not getting some encouragement. Have you been able to have government official been able to reach out to you, or not only government or private institution back home been able to reach out to you so that you can be able to contribute towards research? Have you get any call from anyone from Liberia?
Honestly, no, not yet. Uh, for me, I'm not that well knowing in Liberia because in Liberia we focus mostly on politics. So if you are not a politician, if you are not someone who actually go live frequently and talk a lot, people don't really consider you. I may be wrong, but that's just my own opinion. But I'm not discouraged by that. So for me, do computational science and do anything. So there are lots of things you can do. Like currently, so one application of being a computational scientist, like currently we're trying to document Liberian languages.
Wow. So
So we're
so
trying to
so so
document.
that you are also doing going outside of science to also do another initiative when it comes to languages.
But it's still part of the technology.
No,
It's kind of.
I just trying to just imagine how innovative you are when it comes to understanding being a computational scientist, being more thinking more faster to see how you can contribute towards society. I didn't say it's actually bad.
Uh-huh. So like for instance, we are trying to document Liberian languages, and then if we have a data set of, take for example, Pele English data pair, you can use that as a there's a subfield of artificial intelligence called NLP, natural language processing, the human computer interactions, how a computer can be able to process written text. So that data can be you can use that to develop model like translation. You can develop a translation model. You can develop text to speech. Speech to order. Like recently, we launched in collaboration with the developers I'm working with. We launched like Beta AI. So that allows you to be able to do some text to text translation or text to speech, audio to speech. So you can use this data and build lots of applications. Even as a computational scientist, you can also develop your own model, like for example, to be able to predict the occurrence of certain disease in Liberia. So you can build your own mathematical model. So the thing is, computational science or computational biology, like someone said, they are interdisciplinary. So you have mathematics coming together,
That was
using
Bobby, yeah.
computer algorithms, and then you have and then like you have you need program. Like I did a programming language like Python, for instance. like in the work done in NLP mostly based on Python. So you have some you need some coding skills, and if you can code, you can also use Tina Arab Studio to be able to analyze biological data. That's one of the most common tools used by computational biology, Arab Studio. And other people use SPSS. Other people use Python. For me, I use Python most of the time for like doing simple data analysis, histogram, all of these things. You can use them. Yeah.
That the goal is that I understand most of the time young people will leave our country is to contribute towards come back to our country to contribute towards the particular field in which you study. And
Mm.
if you may ask me, with the kind of skill you have, I know you may get something to even do to Ministry of Health, you may get something doing to Enfield, you may get something doing at even EPA. Most of these are science-driven institutions. You may even get something doing at the university. The university may need you, the medical school may need you with the skill you have. If the government may call you back, if maybe not only government, I always say because in Liberia we're based on government, but this place I'm listening, and if they reach out to you, maybe upon watching this video, first of all, are you really, really willing to go back to Liberia to contribute to your quota towards the development of science in Liberia?
Okay, to give you a simple answer to that question is always yes. Like, okay, so before I get, I want to I've also one of those who have been working to develop the PhD programs in the biological science at University of Liberia. So I was one of those who helped develop like the curricula. Yeah. So we are also contributing, right?
Yeah,
But
sure.
there are key things we need to take into consideration, like uh, if you look at, okay, so government or whatever, there should be a way to be able to attract young people. We need to develop that self-confidence in the trust our own Liberians, right? Because we still have the mindset that foreigner can do better, compared to a typical Liberian. So for instance, you cannot go to Nigeria and then bring experts. Like you bring professors or experts from Nigeria, you pay them, and you expect Liberian to come and volunteer. Because in more instances, they're going to say, "Oh, government is not ready for employment," but the same government is bringing people from elsewhere and paying them. But for Liberians, this government is not ready to employ. So, and then you have to build a society where qualifications aligns with the what you're going to do. So because
Okay.
like sometimes in our setting, like sometimes people see it like a threat, like maybe someone has a master degree in a position, they won't accept someone with a doctoral degree to actually work in that space. So sometimes it's not about being qualified, it's about being politically connected or like going by the standard code. So if you really want to attract people, you have to create a kind of environment where the qualifications align with the job. You have to the government library. They should be thinking of having like a science academy. In Turkey, they have the science academy, so they recognize all of the scientists or all of the people from Turkey in other
Yes.
top ranking institutions, and they always give on a wall. So that alone will help to attract talent. So you should be able to create these opportunities and do recognitions, so that people you can be able to attract the young people. But in our society, sometimes it's not about the potential you have; it's about how connected you are. So there's a disjunction between like the job and qualification. So most people who have the job, they don't have the qualification, and most people who have the qualification, they don't have the job because you are not politically connected, or you are not being recommended to do a specific job. And sometimes it's challenging. So and not everyone want to do things the Liberian way. So if you have a kind of transparent system where like merit-based system, I think that would help to attract people. And another thing I always told people is that we are now in the age of technology. Now I'm in Turkey, you are also in Turkey, but we are having conversation with people and people listening to us from Liberia. So you don't always have to be physically present in Liberia to contribute. So people can still be studying abroad, and they can also be able to contribute to the Liberian society. Share knowledge. We are now in a kind of globally connected, space. Like you can just sit and do anything from anywhere. So we need to create that enabling environment, trust our own Liberians, and stop prioritizing foreigners over Liberians. You are in Turkey, for example. Most of the institutions here, they are, in terms of their ranking, they have way better than institutions in Nigeria, or even in some places in Ghana. But once someone leaves from Ghana or Nigeria, they'll prefer to take foreigners from Nigeria, to bring them instead of bringing Liberians in the space. So we don't have that belief. We don't believe in ourselves. We believe, because Jackson Wiago was our Coditon, so it's the same Jackson Wiago after 10 years. No, he's not the same person. Yeah.
So in different Justin Wiako, he's that one Justin Wiako now.
Yeah. So these are
So
things we
yeah,
should be considering, right? So
yeah.
yeah, so government or whoever, they have to, because uh, people, it's about being accepted, right? But if people see like a threat instead of as someone who can actually contribute to the society, you feel people would love to be where they'll be, you know, respected, or in terms of security wise, in terms of, like, for me right now, I do lots of computational work, so I need an environment, that won't suppress me, that won't suppress my potential. So if I feel that the environment can suppress my potential, it's hard to thrive within such environment.
But that I think this is very sad for Liberia. Sometimes while you explain, if I look in your face, and I know that we should not continue on this kind of path in Liberia, because we'll be losing our own brains, we'll be losing our own people who actually want to give back to Liberia. I mean, looking at you having a PhD, it makes me motivated to learn, right? But on the other hand, I feel so worried. Why I mean, people can press you, people like you, if you want to go back to Liberia now to say, okay, I want to give my contribution in a particular place. And all this is also happening when you have the weight only on government, and probably the private sector is also not working enough to absorb all of the populations. In sometimes it creates some of those problems. But equally so, government should also take the lead. If the government take the lead, like you said, merit-based system, people who are qualified should get a particular job. It will actually be a good thing to know that. So I mean that I think we can elevate the discussion differently when it comes to science. What actually, how do, with your experience back home at Cottington, you studied at Cottington, you also studied high school in Liberia, and with your experience studying masters here, you got all of the experience. I think you explained everything. And is there any time where you actually face any difficulties when you were in Turkey yesterday, your PhD and master? I know you explained all the difficult time you spent in Cottington, all the time you spend, you struggle a lot. Is there any time where you actually spend a kind of a difficult time studying as an international student up to your PhD level?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, for my MSc program at the beginning, there were lots of challenges trying to get used to the system here, because I remember, like, sometimes in a session, sometimes we're going to cover like a chapter or more than a chapter, so two chapters in a single lecture, right? So those are like some of the challenges. So you have to read a lot, and in Liberia, reading is not that our strength. Like I said, in Liberia, I used to study at most maybe 2-3 hours, but here I have to study for more than 5, 6, 7 hours. And also at the beginning of my doctoral program, it was challenging, and I have to actually go to the gym to start training to really bring in, a kind of equilibrium, or whatever you want to term it. It was at some point in time, I nearly left the program, especially my first semester, because you serve as a graduate assistant, so your supervisor expect you to do some research work. You have TA responsibility. You have to go to the lab, and then you have to do some gradings, and you have your own study to do. You have your own assignment projects to work on. So I have a lot on my plate, So at some point in time, it was actually challenging, and I was like, maybe I should go back to Liberia instead of
Mm, to
staying
the
here. But then we strive, we remain tenacious, and we were able to actually complete semester one, and then and after my first semester, second semester, I had the opportunity to travel to the U.S. uh, to travel as a guest researcher at the National Cancer Institute or in Maryland. So from that guest researcher experience, I started becoming more confident, and then I had some publications, and then after some publications, I started believing, okay, now it's possible that I can actually complete this program. But to be honest, graduate programs, especially doctoral programs in general, they are challenging. It requires focus. It's not really something not about how smart you are, but it's about uh, how well organized you are. Time management. Your mindset. How well you interact, your interpersonal relationship with your supervisor. So these are things that actually play key role. So if you are well organized, you know your purpose. You don't. Because most often you're gonna meet your supervisor maybe once in a month to discuss your project, and most often after discussion with your supervisor, sometimes you leave from there confused. You're thinking on what to do next, and sometimes there are problems you don't. It takes weeks to be able to solve them. So there are lots of things that actually go, and then you have people who may not go through all of these rigorous processes, all right? And then they just got online and get a degree. Okay, I got a PhD from AIU, for instance, and they occupy the best
so
position in the country.
yes, yes. So yeah, I just about to say this to you. With the issue of the fake credential issue, most often, I don't, with all of the story narrating, people who are watching, I think they're getting to get some understanding on how the process on someone who got a PhD, on how they're going to what are those processes they're going to pass through. It's not going to be easy. In fact, you start the struggle from master's level before going to a PhD, because it's a very tough thing. Meaning you talk about a supervisor, very, very tough. And I know you're coming to the fake credential issue. Someone will just go and start doing online and just get that degree online, just move on. So, I mean, that with generally when it comes to the issue of science in Liberia, how do you think we can improve this, or years to years or lecture when it comes to people who, I mean, they kind of better facilities when you go at the universities, not just one university. I'm talking about all of the universities in Liberia. There's no proper laboratory. In fact, some of the universities are paying, are charging students a lot of money for, for school fees, but they are not meeting up with the requirement when it comes to practical and stuff. How, from your own perspective, you studied chemistry undergraduate, coming up to PhD, and with another branch of science also. What are some of what do you how do you think we can solve some of those problems back?
For me, I think it has to do with the mindset, right? I think the people who are in charge should be waiting to really improve this system. Yeah. So there should be investment. If you want to have a better lab, you need to you are an experimentalist. If you want like for instance, the current lab you are working, if you compare to the lab you are working in Liberia, there you have lots of equipment, you have materials, experimental setup compared to what you are using in Liberia. So people should be waiting, or institution or government should be willing to invest in this thing. You have uh, lawmakers or people earning 15, 20,000, but then you cannot invest into research, into science and technology in the country. And how do you expect the country to get on the path of flourishing? It's impossible. So for me, usually what I always tell people in Liberia, we are the complete opposite of reality, right? We don't really focus or invest our resources into what really matters. We try to praise politicians, and politicians, they won't really take their money and then invest it into this thing. So it all comes down to our mindset and our willingness to actually change the system. Because people we have that natural resistance, right? We want to maintain a status quo. See state-run university, for example, you should be able to improve these systems. But you can. The ones I saw, like some pictures online, you see people doing experiment in COPA, all of these things, at the UL, at the University of Liberia. That's shameful. People have the resources, but they don't want to invest. They prefer to use it on their personal stuff instead of actually investing into the system. So if we really want to improve, we have to work in that direction instead of like universal library. Take even the entrance fees alone. That's huge sum of money. Now, if they really want to improve the system, they better improve the system. So it's about our mindset. Our mindset. Are we really willing to do the right thing? Are we willing to allow people with new ideas to come to the system to help us set up the system, or do we still see them like a threat? Now, when they come, they're going to take our job.
That when you say the mindset, I actually today just about something happened to me coincident when I was working in my lab. So in the morning I have this authority that have to check all of those equipment in the lab to see if they're working, and then send report to the assistant supervisor in the lab. And when I got to the lab, I met something broken. So like I have to write and immediate to him and say this is broken, and he said who broke it. They asked probably someone, one of those undergraduate students, make mistake and they're afraid they left. So like this. So immediately it was replaced after 4 hours. Just imagine after 4 hours they were replaced because what the professor was saying at that moment, that equipment, someone want to use it to do their research. So if that equipment is not there, they're not going to complete their project. It could stop someone from even graduating or meeting all the certain deadlines. So after 4 hours, it will replace.
Yeah,
So
they,
I
they,
think
they
I think it's
prioritize they prioritize the most important thing. They have reserve so that if anything goes wrong, it's being replaced.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I think I say this to say that I think more people will say those people you can't compare Liberia with these people because like they, but these people are not sure. Like I said to say to anyone, any of my friends who are lecture every day, because you have the same people begging on the street here, same people begging on the street in Liberia, but these people have priorities and they know that research and science and tech is the way the world is moving. Artificial intelligence, if they improve science, they're going to have some elevation into the economy. The economy going to improve, and so they will invest into it. But
yeah,
we can't keep and we keep saying we don't have money, but we keep getting certain group of people getting 11,000, 13,000, 20. I don't want to go into that politics. And, this is a professional platform, but
yeah.
it's actually annoying.
That's what I said.
Seriously,
What we do in library, the complete opposite of reality. Take for instance, like the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey. Jupiter is an autonomous body. They have their
yes,
own
yes,
president,
yes.
have everything. So anything about science and technology in Turkey is run by Jupiter. They
In
give
fact,
grant
in
to
fact,
university.
in
They
fact,
give
in
grant
fact,
to professors.
yeah, you won't
Uh,
believe it. To be like my recent trip to Liberia, to be like sponsor my recent trip. I just wrote the professor, and I mean, you were able to get some funding for me, and I was able to get ticket to go to Liberia as an international student because I'm a researcher on a TVDA project. So I was like, how are these people managing with this kind of thing? There is significant improvement, but I
uh-huh.
mean, Liberia
Uh-huh.
is
Like you and I, we are Jupiter scholars, right? So if
yeah,
we associating with institution in Liberia, we can actually establish that linkage between Jupiter and the University in Liberia. Maybe there are some research or something like for example, take some most of the medications in Liberia, like for the one for like gonorrhea or these infectious diseases or whatever. Most of those medications they are now they they they they are not already, they are not, they have lost the active ingredients or the active component. They are now true medication. So you can do a collaboration and you can get more potent or better drug from Turkey people can use in Liberia. So if we have that power, we can be able to establish that relationship or that linkage between a university in Liberia with the research council here. It's possible. So people don't look beyond personal gain. That's one of the primaries. Doing things for the common good is going to help the institution than doing things for the personal good. So that's why I said everything comes down to the mindset. Are we ready to really improve this system? Are we prioritizing the things we're supposed to prioritize, or we running behind politicians? We're jogging behind your get qualified the industry. Yeah, because these are things these are things to prioritize. So we don't focus on the most important aspect. So as a result, we will keep regressing instead of progressing. That's a sad reality.
Wow. Folks, if you are just watching Science in Society, we are here today for Dr. Jasin Guyaku, gradually coming to the end of this show. And so I'm going to read a comment and go to that for his parting comment. Probably, if you have anything to say to make any contribution to make on this show, you can also leave your comment. I'm going to read your comment, and maybe you have any question. You can just read your question to in the comment section. I'm going to read on any of the platform you're watching from. And so we have Musa Sharif is watching. Ayuba Fofana says exactly so that Liberia have to value their own. They prefer other over their citizen. In most instances, that has to change. That had to change in order to encourage Liberian students that have foreign experience to go back home to contribute. And so that was from Ayuba or Fofana. And so we have Kebe Askew is watching. uh, Terisha Pereles is saying, keep up the good work. And so Mashami Sheriff is also watching. And so I read off the comments that was up earlier. And Akid and Sumana B. Duclis also watching us. So we'd like to say thank you guys for watching. If you watching, you can also keep sharing the live video as much as you can. We have Dr. Jasin Wiako. He holds a PhD in computational engineering from the prestigious Koch University. In fact, Koch was my dream university. I mean, I think I normally say this to you that I wanted to, come to, because initially when I was coming to Turkey, I actually make my research about caution. I found out that it was actually my dream school, but it went the other way. But we still moving with our career path and moving into science to see how we can be able to improve ourselves. So that we is already gradually we going to the time. It's 8:27 in Liberia. And so what are some of your I mean, what is your parting comment? What do you have to say to people who are watching? And maybe probably you have something to say you didn't say in your explanation. You can also say.
Yeah. So uh, So the first thing that maybe there are people who have been watching and maybe they're trying to develop interest in computational science. So what I want to tell them, computational science or computational biology or computational chemistry, these are interesting fields. You can uh, you can go in any of them. You can study any of these. It make you versatile, so you don't have to limit yourself. And when you are studying, then don't just limit yourself to Liberia or thinking that, oh, okay, maybe after graduating I'm going to university of Liberia or going to the university. So you have to look at things from a more global perspective. Like you can be able to work anywhere. You can utilize your skills in an area. You can be able to even start your own style of tech company, right? So there are lots of opportunities there, and we are already in the age of technology, AI, and so forth. So, uh, you know, computational science is something interesting. I actually encourage people, and one of these days we hope that we'll return, maybe establish a kind of computational uh, department in one of these universities in Liberia. And if you want to pursue this path, you have to uh, do like be good at maybe the mathematics, or maybe try to learn some programming, because in computation science you have to get used to like some of these programming languages. And yeah, and just be focused and be determined to pay the price. Nothing good come easily, right? Yeah. So if you want to achieve greatness, you have to make the right sacrifices. Yeah. And I'm glad and thank you for the opportunity to be able to share like my opinion, or my perspectives on some of the issues in Liberia. We have a lot to work on in Liberia. Because most of what we do is the complete opposite. We still prioritize foreigners. We feel like Liberians learning abroad coming, they're going to take our jobs. We see them like a threat, instead of trying to incorporate them into the society to actually help bring, some of these things we are already seeing abroad, to bring them into the system. So people should focus on that, and we should try to prioritize some of the things, and like supporting. Okay, everyone cannot work for government, but people who are striving to be able to set up a kind of startup tech company, government can be able to support them, maybe get them some loan grant, or maybe tax breaks. So these are things we should be able to look at. Like recently, I've been working with some of my colleagues. We try to develop like personal assistant. So one of the things, like okay, this one is key. So most of the universities in Liberia, we don't have like up-to-date textbooks in most of the institutions. Not all, but in most of the institutions, right? So you have GPT assistant. You can build a personal assistant. For example, I can build a personal assistant for chemistry teachers in a high school. Now, regardless of their location, they can use our assistant and access any latest uh, in the area of chemistry, because we're gonna train a model, or the assistant on like the major textbooks within the field, or the latest development. So teachers from any part of Liberia, once you have internet or whatever, you can be able to access the latest model. You have a personalized assistant that can help you even plan your lesson, and also makes teaching much more easier for you than to be using books that are written in 1980, but it's written on the modern chemistry, but you are still using 2024, referring to that as a modern chemistry. No, that's not modern chemistry. There are lots of changes that are taking place. So I think these are things we should be looking at, like embracing technology or artificial intelligence. I know we are way behind, but at least trying to experiment with some of these tools, like what we do, or we even build like data AI, which we are giving access to institutions in Liberia, like students, teachers. We give them and the beta AI is actually based on GPT technology. So you're using the same technology from OpenAI.
Okay.
So we're trying to bring this thing at least to contribute to the system, so that people can use some of the state of the art model to better out the system, to improve their teaching methodologies, or lesson planning, or whatever. So you have personal assistant as a teacher, so you can ask it any questions relating to the course. They're going to help you, because students are using AI to do their assignments, so the teachers should be aware of some of these things. And yeah, so basically that's it. And it has been a great time. Maybe in the near future we can come back with more focus on, because it has been like almost 2-3 years I've not been into these computational biologies. I just try to recall some of these concepts, but we can come back in the long run, or not so distant future, to see how we can go maybe much deeper into like AI or NLP, or some of the current work I'm actually involved in. Because like I said earlier, we're focusing on the Liberian languages, so we're actually trying to document Liberian language and be able to preserve. That's what I'm currently focusing on, and then we also trying to build tools that people can be able to use, like building a system for teachers, for students, to help in like personalized learning. Yeah. So that's it. If there's any additional questions or
Yeah,
concerns, I'll be glad
I
to.
don't know. Yeah, we just getting one of our colleagues joining us, and we leave, but we'll just get something from him then before Moana, Moana, welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate. So sorry,
Your,
I
we
forgot.
can
I
see
forgot
your
that.
camera. We can see your camera is down. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, yeah. I'll put my camera on.
Okay. So
Yes.
Moana, we just leaving, and probably if you have
So
question to ask that or any commendation you have for that, then you can ask him. You can also say to him, then before we can go.
I'm late, and it's kind of unfortunate that I did not really listen to his presentation. So asking your question would be somehow. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't.
so
Yeah.
that is in the era of competition. He's a whole PhD in computational engineering. Uh, yeah, so he's into most of the time into data analysis using computer tools to analyze biological model. That's why he into. And I mean, we had a very good discussion along with our contribution with some veterans on the chat. Ambassador Taylor was on also giving some contribution. Also, Mr. Kato, Mr. Bobby Kato from the Universal Library also. So I mean, that's just summary of that we are cool.
Oh,
So if you
okay.
don't have question to ask, you can also just make a
Yeah,
comment
yeah.
and
Basically, I can't really say I have question.
okay. Thank you so much and Moana for coming and hope that you come sooner than this. you know, so thank you so much. Thank you and that. Thank you for being here today. We're actually proud of you. We hope that this appearance will be a wake up call to Liberians and also the authority up there that that are watching this live. And I know normally most of our folks are some of them just bump into the video, they don't know about them, then they just watch and maybe probably when who knows they're gonna call that we are called as a wake up call as a national call to do some rescue, to make some rescue somewhere. I don't know, but it's not a political term. I beg you or to as a wake up call to go and make his contribution to national DJ in the private or public sector anyway. But folks, here actually have been a very good show, and we've been up here with Dr. Justin Welko on Science and Society. He's a scientist and also I mean, diversional scientist into a whole lot. I think he just said to he's also working on the language program, the language project also. Maybe sometime we're gonna have a special edition show on that to explain to us the significant and the improvement in making into that area. Also, that is also another science, but also of the natural sciences. So that thank you. I mean, if you don't have anything to say, you man will call it a day. And thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that's it from me. And again, thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, we are always open to the public. Willing to make our own contribution regardless of where we are. For me, location should not be the problem. We can contribute from anywhere we are now in the age of technology. You know, you elsewhere and elsewhere, someone is in Liberia and we still having a kind of
I think with the degree with the kind of degree you have, even Moana, if Moana who is just joining, Libro actually need you. So your physical presence because the young people want to get a whole lot from you. You know, science is going diverse in different kind of way. We need more librarian to
You
come to
talking?
bring every aspect of the sciences. You know,
yeah.
so
Like I said, location is not a problem. I can travel to Liberia anytime. It's not a problem, I know. But we have to create that environment, you know, or something more secure. Or we need to think of having like stable electricity, stable internet. These are things that are actually going to attract people because you're doing lots of computational work. You know, I'm not going to sit behind my computer and see something loading for 20, 15, 30 minutes, you know, no result. So if I'm gonna take like maybe 2 3 hours to do the work that I can do like in 5 10 minutes, you know, I'll prefer a kind of environment that provide better services. You know, that's just a sad reality. You know, so we have to. You know, so the thing about internet, none of these services can be improved. They can be improved, but we have like human barriers. people don't want to improve the system. Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
bring Starlink to Liberia, for example. So we can have competition between the GSM company, so we can have other internet service provider. Even though it may be expensive, but it's better to pay more money for a better service than to pay and then get poor services as people usually experience with like the top GSM company alongside Circle. So you need to open up the society, give people the opportunity to bring other things into the system. Yeah, so it's not about having monopoly over everything. You have LEC, for instance, you don't have stable electricity, but you have someone working with LEC who is earning over 26,000 per month. So that's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. LEC is not stable, but you have someone earning over 26,000 from LEC who works with LEC, and the current is not stable.
Wow.
So why not
So
take
that
that money and send some Liberian abroad to study chemical or electrical engineering and come back and work with the same LEC?
thank you,
Yeah,
Dad. I mean,
so that's it. We have lots of problems, and I don't want to get into all of that. And we hope to be back maybe in the near future. And it was a great time, and see how uh, we see what the future holds. But for contribution, the Liberia will remain determined. We are already making our contribution, especially with the language project. It's something that I'm really passionate about. And want to ensure that we document, preserve, and revitalize Liberian languages. We want to use the same computational methods. Uh, yeah.
thank you
So
so
do
much, Dad.
computational
Thank you
science,
again.
do anything. Yeah. So that's it.
Sure.
I'm leaving. I'm off to bed. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the time, and it was actually nice having you. Thank
No
you so much.
problem. Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
Dad.
Bye bye.
So Moana, it was. I mean, folks, if you just watching, well, paying host to that Oweako, he's a computational scientist, and he's been here for a couple of years in Turkey. He was a master's and PhD in Turkey. And I think if I'm here, you get some things from me. He currently working along with the University of Liberia faculty to create the PhD program. There's a PhD program the university want to establish, and they're also working on that. But it was actually nice, discussing about his career, his fee on how he came up and how he got his PhD journey, and also some of the things they do as a computational engineer, some of the things they do in the sciences. And yeah, we're really amazed that they work cut across most of the natural sciences, talking about the chemistry, the biologies. So Moana, do you have anything to say before we can tell our folks? We can call it a day for our folks. You okay, right? Okay.
Yeah, I was too busy that I
Yeah,
forgot that we
sure.
had a show today. Yeah. So when I came in the group chat, I saw the link, so I just clicked on. But the time already gone. Anyway,
Yeah, time out.
I hope to meet up since he has promised to come back again another time. I wish to listen to him, and get some. Yeah, it's kind of new to me. Computational science. Yeah, it looks new, but I would love to know how it really look like, and what are the career prospects in Liberia. Yeah, and what
Maybe,
are
maybe,
places that we
maybe,
can.
maybe, probably you can also watch
Look at.
maybe also you can also watch the video again, and
Yeah, I
you
would do
also
that.
get yeah,
I would do that.
you also maybe get some things from him. But he's a very good young guy. You just imagine someone getting PhD in that. I think they should be maybe in one of the few librarians that have a PhD in that, and they actually making significant impact in his day corner, making significant research, doing research, working on research projects. That's what he's doing. So thank you so much, Moana, and
Okay,
it was
okay,
actually
chief.
nice having you. Thank you, folks. If you thank you so much for staying with us on Science and Society. We'll be here on Friday again. We'll be here as usual on Friday and also we'll use our platform, the official platforms to announce our new guests that will be coming on Friday. So if you are just tuning in, this is Science and Society. We always here on Tuesday and Friday. We bring you people who are studying the sciences, discussing on how science is connected to society, how they are contributing towards in their career, in their field, and how they can, even if they are not been contributing, how they can also contribute towards uh towards the development of Liberia. So we have earlier on we had Dr. Justin Wiako. He's a computational engineer, and you got a lot of discussion from him on work and computational engineer do, what area they can work, what kinds of work they do. And so it was actually good. And thank you for staying with us. See you on Friday. On Friday, I'll also be giving some. We'll be discussing. This is far from positive. I'll be discussing the recent release from the EPA. So we have some issues. My other colleagues who couldn't come on to discuss the release. It has some scientific implication. The later release when it comes to from EPA, we're going to also look at that also on Friday, just to make the public to understand on what actually happening also, what they actually what they actually mean, in that particular communication, and like what we deal with the issue of the CNET on the Kampala River. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm out now. See you on Friday. Thank you so much. Wow. See you all.
You on a blow, on a Miami, on a move, on a blow, on a Miami, on a move, on a blow, on a Miami. You will come in, will fair, young girl. You will come in, will fair, young girl. You will come in, will fair, young girl. Young girl, young girl.